They say loyalty runs deep, like blood through veins. They tell you trust is sacred, that real bonds endure. They paint pretty pictures of steadfast friends and reliable allies standing shoulder to shoulder through triumph and disaster. But they lie, or worse, they simply don't know. Loyalty is the cruelest theater you'll ever enter. The audience applauds, smiles, nods approval, but their eyes flicker with calculation. Every handshake is conditional. Every promise carries expiration. When the spotlight dims, the crowd scatters like roaches when lights turn on. Machiavelli understood this brutal mathematics. He wrote, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel. The loyalty you witness in public dissolves in private. The allegiance you count on today evaporates when your fortune shifts tomorrow." Most people believe loyalty grows from shared time, pleasant conversations, mutual interests. They think nodding along to your dreams means commitment to your success. They confuse proximity with partnership, familiarity with fidelity. This delusion costs them everything. Careers sabotaged by trusted colleagues, fortunes stolen by inner circles, empires toppled by those closest to the throne. The great Florentine observed the cruel mathematics of human nature through decades of political warfare. He witnessed how apparent devotion crumbled under the slightest pressure, how sworn allegiances dissolved when self-interest beckoned. His writings reveal the bitter truth. Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved. Today you learn the 5 laws that separate genuine allies from skilled actors, not through paranoid suspicion, but through strategic testing. You will discover who stands with you when standing costs them something. You will identify the wolves wearing sheep's clothing before they bare their teeth. This is war disguised as friendship. The battlefield is every conversation, every meeting, every moment someone chooses to support or undermine you. Your survival depends on knowing who fights for you and who waits for you to fall. Before we explore the 5 laws, understand the sophisticated psychology behind modern loyalty theater. People have evolved beyond crude betrayal. They've mastered the art of simultaneous support and sabotage. They'll cheer your victories while secretly undermining your foundation. They'll offer help while creating problems only they can solve. They'll express concern for your well-being while poisoning others against you. This new breed of false ally is more dangerous than open enemies because they operate within your defenses. They know your weaknesses, your plans, your fears. They've earned access to sensitive information through performed loyalty. When they strike, the damage is comprehensive and often irreversible. Machiavelli warned about this exact scenario when he observed that he who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner affects his ruin than his preservation. The master understood that idealistic expectations about loyalty create vulnerability that ruthless opportunists exploit without hesitation. The modern challenge is that everyone has read the same leadership books, attended the same seminars, learned the same social scripts. They know how to mimic loyalty convincingly. They understand what signals to send, what words to use, what emotions to display. Surface-level loyalty testing fails because the performance has become too sophisticated. Deep loyalty testing requires psychological archaeology, digging beneath conscious performance to reveal unconscious priorities. The 5 laws create situations where conscious deception becomes difficult to maintain because they trigger automatic responses that bypass social conditioning. Machiavelli recognized this necessity. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. The same principle applies to those around you. Everyone sees what they appear to be, but few tests reveal what they really are. The 5 laws force this revelation through strategic pressure. People don't orbit you. They orbit your benefits, your attention, your approval, your resources, your influence. Remove these magnets and watch the metal filings scatter. This is the deprivation test, the most revealing filter in your arsenal. Stop being the center of conversations. Stop offering constant validation. Stop providing the emotional fuel that keeps fair-weather friends engaged. Dim your brightness and observe who remains in the shadows beside you. The pretenders reveal themselves immediately. They become restless, distant, suddenly busy with other commitments. Their messages grow shorter. Their enthusiasm wanes. They start mentioning other interesting people they've been spending time with. These are not conscious betrayals. They're unconscious migrations toward new sources of validation. Watch their body language during group conversations when you're not the focus. Do they seem uncomfortable? Are they constantly trying to redirect attention back to you? Do they name-drop your association when talking to others? These behaviors indicate addiction to reflected glory rather than genuine connection. But observe the rare few who lean closer when you pull back, who check on your silence with genuine concern, who offer their own light when yours dims. These souls aren't addicted to your performance, they're invested in your well-being. Machiavelli understood the power of strategic withdrawal. The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves. Withdrawal reveals the traps of false loyalty while identifying those who stand guard against the wolves. The withdrawal must feel natural, not punitive. You're not disappearing dramatically. You're strategically reducing your availability. Stop initiating conversations with people you suspect. Stop being the first to offer help, advice, or attention. Stop carrying the emotional labor of relationships. Create space and see who fills it with genuine care versus who disappears into convenient absence. Test this in your professional environment. Stop volunteering for highly visible projects. Stop offering immediate solutions to every problem. Stop being the go-to person for advice and assistance. Notice who approaches you with continued respect versus who starts treating you as less relevant. Document these patterns without judgment. Some relationships are naturally transactional. Business partnerships, professional networks, casual social connections. The test reveals relationship categories, not moral failures. But it prevents you from investing emotional energy in connections that exist only for your output. Remember that genuine allies often appreciate your withdrawal because it relieves them of performing constant gratitude. Real relationships can survive periods of reduced intensity. Fake relationships require constant feeding to survive. The master warned, "Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions. Those who panic at your withdrawal reveal their deceptive nature. Those who remain calm reveal their authentic foundation. Loyalty thrives in stability, but opportunism crumbles under uncertainty. Announce a bold direction change. Hint at risky ventures. Suggest uncomfortable pivots that might disrupt the status quo. Then measure reactions with surgical precision. True allies adapt with your evolution. They ask thoughtful questions about your reasoning. They offer to help navigate challenges. They may express concern about risks, but their concern focuses on your success, not their comfort. False allies reveal their self-interest immediately. They resist change that threatens their position. They offer helpful advice designed to keep you where you are. They express worry that sounds caring but carries the subtext. Don't grow beyond where I can follow. Don't succeed past where I can benefit. The fear in their eyes isn't fear for you. It's fear of being left behind. They've built their identity around your current level. Your ascension becomes their anxiety. They'll disguise envy as wisdom, insecurity as loyalty, self-preservation as friendship. Machiavelli observed this pattern repeatedly. Since the handling of arms is a science, he who does not practice it cannot be successful at it. The same applies to loyalty. Those who haven't practiced genuine devotion cannot maintain it when circumstances shift. They retreat to familiar comfort zones, while true allies advance into unknown territory beside you. The chaos injection must be believable, but not reckless. You're testing reactions to plausible evolution, not announcing insane decisions. The scenarios should be challenging but rational, moving to a new city, changing career directions, starting a business, ending a relationship, adopting new philosophies or lifestyles. Watch for 3 distinct response patterns: supportive adapters, ask how they can help, express excitement about new possibilities, and offer resources for your transition. Anxious resistors immediately list reasons why change is dangerous, remind you of current benefits, and suggest postponement. Strategic observers remain neutral publicly while privately calculating how your changes affect their position. The most dangerous group are those who publicly support your announced changes while privately working to sabotage them. They'll say encouraging things while planting seeds of doubt. They'll offer help while creating obstacles. They'll express confidence while spreading concern to mutual connections. Create controlled disruptions or professional and personal spheres. Float new strategies, relationships, locations, priorities. Watch who gets excited about your expansion and who gets nervous. The nervous ones are attachments, not allies. They love the version of you that serves them, not the version of you that serves your highest potential. The key is persistence through initial resistance. Most people's first reaction to announced change is fear-based pushback. Give them time to process and adjust. True allies will work through their initial anxiety to support your growth. False allies will intensify their resistance and begin undermining your confidence. Document who encourages your evolution versus who profits from your stagnation. Those who consistently support your growth deserve deeper trust. Those who consistently resist your expansion deserve reduced influence over your decisions. As Machiavelli noted, whoever desires to found a state and give it laws must start with assuming that all men are bad and ever ready to display their vicious nature. This assumption protects you during periods of change when people's true priorities become visible. Presence reveals politeness. Absence reveals priority. When you're not there to witness, monitor, or provide value, people's true nature emerges from behind their social masks. This is surveillance without paranoia, letting distance create clarity. Step away from regular social gatherings. Take breaks from constant communication. Create gaps in your usual availability. Don't announce these absences dramatically. Simply become less present and observe the responses. Genuine allies notice your absence and reach out, not to demand your return, but to ensure your well-being. They send brief messages checking if everything is all right. They express that you've been missed without making your absence about their needs. They maintain the connection without requiring your energy. Superficial connections barely notice you're gone. They're too busy consuming attention from other sources. When you return, they act as if no time has passed, revealing how little your presence actually registered. They relate to you as furniture, useful when needed, invisible when not. The most dangerous category are those who use your absence to advance their own position. They speak for you in meetings. They make decisions in your name. They position themselves as your representative while subtly undermining your authority. These aren't friends. They're usurpers waiting for opportunity. Machiavelli understood the intelligence value of strategic withdrawal. He who establishes a tyranny and does not kill Brutus, or he who establishes a free government and does not kill the sons of Brutus, will only reign a short time. Your absence reveals who prepares to support your return and who prepares to replace your position. Modern technology makes strategic absence more complex, but more revealing. Social media creates the illusion of presence through past posts and automated responses. Email creates expectations of immediate availability. Phones make absence feel aggressive rather than natural. The art is creating organic distance that doesn't feel punitive. Take weekend breaks from social media. Delay response times to non-urgent communications. Skip optional meetings and gatherings. Travel without constant updates about your activities. Create reasonable boundaries around your accessibility. Monitor how people respond to reduced availability. Do they respect your boundaries or immediately push against them? Do they express concern for your well-being or frustration about your unavailability? Do they adapt their expectations or escalate their demands? Pay attention to what happens in your professional environment during planned absences. Who maintains your projects with care? Who lets things slide, hoping you'll fix problems upon return? Who uses your absence to criticize your work or question your commitment? In personal relationships, absence reveals dependency patterns. Healthy connections can tolerate periodic space without drama. Unhealthy connections create crises during your unavailability. Manipulative connections punish your absence with guilt, anger, or threats of abandonment. Your absence is a truth serum. It intoxicates the false and sobers the real. Use it regularly, strategically, and without guilt. You owe no one your constant presence. Those who deserve it will preserve it in memory. Those who don't will forget it immediately. The strategic absence also serves another crucial function. It prevents you from becoming addicted to being needed. Many leaders develop dependency on constant validation and accessibility. They lose the ability to step back and observe objectively because they're too invested in being indispensable. Regular strategic absence maintains your psychological independence while testing others. Loyalty. It keeps you from becoming emotionally dependent on relationships that may not deserve your investment. It creates space for genuine connections to deepen while letting superficial connections naturally fade. Document who maintains respect during your absence versus who uses it as opportunity for advancement. Those who protect your interests while you're away have earned permanent places in your inner circle. Those who exploit your absence have revealed their true character. The master's wisdom applies perfectly. Men worry less about doing an injury to one who makes himself loved than to one who makes himself feared. Your absence tests whether people fear disappointing you or simply love consuming your attention. Strength attracts many followers. Vulnerability reveals who follows the person versus the position. This is the most dangerous test because it requires genuine exposure, but the intelligence it provides is invaluable. Share a moment of uncertainty, not weakness, but humanness. Admit to a strategic challenge you're facing. Reveal a skill you're still developing. Express doubt about a decision while maintaining your core confidence. Then observe reactions like a scientist studying specimens. Fair-weather allies become uncomfortable with your imperfection. They've invested in your image of invincibility because it reflects well on them. Your vulnerability threatens their social standing. They'll minimize your concerns, change the subject, or suddenly remember urgent appointments. They need you flawless to serve their ego. Manipulative connections see opportunity in your openness. They file away your admissions for future leverage. They offer help with ulterior motives. They position themselves as indispensable rescuers, while secretly hoping you remain dependent. They're not solving your problems. They're collecting your weaknesses. True allies respond to vulnerability with steadiness. They listen without judgment. They offer genuine assistance without expectation of return. They protect the confidence you've shared. Most importantly, they don't change how they treat you. Your moment of uncertainty doesn't diminish their respect. It deepens their connection. Machiavelli warned that the promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present. People's promises about supporting you through difficulties often collapse when difficulty actually arrives. Test these promises before you need them. The vulnerability must be calibrated carefully. You're not confessing deep insecurities or revealing critical weaknesses. You're sharing controlled glimpses of your humanity that test people's character without compromising your position. Consider sharing professional challenges, a difficult client relationship, uncertainty about a strategic decision, concern about market conditions. Reveal personal growth areas, admitting you're working to improve your communication skills, struggling with work-life balance, or learning to delegate more effectively. Watch how people process your admissions. Do they offer practical support or emotional validation? Do they ask follow-up questions or change the subject? Do they respect your confidence or share it with others? Do they treat you differently afterward or maintain consistent respect? The most revealing responses come from those who thought they knew everything about you. Some will be disappointed that you're not as perfect as they imagined. Others will be relieved that you're human like them. The disappointed ones were investing in an image. The relieved ones were connecting with a person. Professional vulnerability testing reveals who sees you as a resource versus who sees you as a human being with resources. Personal vulnerability testing reveals who loves your performance versus who loves your authentic self. Family vulnerability testing reveals who needs you to remain in assigned roles versus who supports your full humanity. This law requires the most courage because authentic vulnerability can't be completely controlled. But the information it reveals about people's character is worth the risk. Those who remain steady when you wobble will stand strong when you fall. Create a spectrum of vulnerability tests from minor admissions to more significant revelations. Start with low-stakes confessions and observe reactions before progressing to deeper sharing. Build trust gradually with those who handle small vulnerabilities well before testing them with larger ones. Remember that vulnerability is information exchange, not emotional dumping. You're sharing specific challenges or uncertainties to test responses, not seeking therapy or rescue. Maintain your core strength and confidence while revealing selected areas of growth or concern. Those who respond to your vulnerability with their own appropriate sharing are demonstrating reciprocal trust. Those who maintain professional boundaries while offering genuine support are showing mature loyalty. Those who use your openness to diminish your authority or collect leverage are revealing their true intentions. Machiavelli's insight remains sharp. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Strategic vulnerability lets you discover who deserves to experience your reality versus who should only see your appearance. The final test requires the most subtlety, creating opportunities for small betrayals and observing who takes them. Not elaborate schemes, but simple moments where someone could benefit at your expense with minimal risk of discovery. Share information that could be valuable if leaked. Provide access to resources that could be diverted. Present opportunities where someone could claim credit for your work. Create scenarios where loyalty and self-interest diverge, then see which force wins. The disloyal won't resist obvious temptation. They'll justify small betrayals as harmless. They'll rationalize larger ones as necessary. They'll tell themselves you won't mind, won't notice, won't care. They'll convert your trust into their advantage without losing sleep. The uncertain will struggle visibly with temptation. They'll ask questions about boundaries. They'll seek permission before acting. They might even resist opportunities that feel too convenient. Their discomfort reveals conscience, a promising sign, even if their resistance isn't perfect. The loyal will either refuse temptation entirely or bring opportunities to you directly. They'll say things like, "I could do X, but I wanted to check with you first," or "This seems like something you should handle personally." They treat your interests as seriously as their own. Machiavelli understood that men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that a deceiver will never lack victims for his deceptions. The temptations you create reveal who defaults to deception when opportunity presents itself. Modern applications are everywhere. Leave your phone unlocked around people. Share login information for non-critical accounts. Discuss business ideas before they're legally protected. Present collaborative opportunities where credit could be shared or stolen. The responses map the moral landscape of your relationships. Professional temptation testing reveals who can be trusted with sensitive information, resources, and responsibilities. Personal temptation testing reveals who respects your boundaries, property, and relationships. Family temptation testing reveals who prioritizes collective benefit versus individual advantage. The temptations must be proportional to the relationship and realistic within normal interactions. You're not creating elaborate schemes. You're paying attention to how people handle ordinary opportunities for small betrayals that arise naturally in close relationships. Watch for patterns across multiple small temptations rather than judging people based on single incidents. Someone might resist financial temptation, but succumb to social temptation. Another might protect your resources but share your secrets. The comprehensive pattern reveals their integrity profile. Create controlled scenarios where loyalty costs something measurable. Give someone access to resources they could use for personal benefit. Share credit for achievements they could claim entirely. Provide information they could leverage for their own advancement. Present opportunities where supporting you requires sacrificing their own immediate interests. The most sophisticated test is creating situations where someone could help you by violating someone else's trust. This reveals whether their loyalty to you is principled or situational. Principled loyalty won't betray others for your benefit, because it understands that conditional loyalty is no loyalty at all. Document who consistently chooses your interests over their immediate advantage, versus who finds reasons to prioritize themselves when opportunities arise. Those who sacrifice for your benefit without being asked have demonstrated genuine commitment. Those who consistently choose themselves when loyalty costs something have revealed their true priorities. The master's observation cuts deep. How one lives is so far distant from how one ought to live that he who neglects what is done for what ought to be done sooner affects his ruin than his preservation. Your temptation tests separate those who live by shoulds from those who act on opportunistic impulses. These 5 laws work because they exploit fundamental aspects of human psychology that most people don't consciously recognize. Loyalty isn't an emotion. It's an economic calculation wrapped in social conditioning. People align with sources of benefit and abandon sources of cost. The art is making yourself valuable enough that the benefits of betraying you never outweigh the benefits of supporting you. But value alone isn't sufficient. Many valuable people get betrayed by those who covet their position. The missing element is fear, not fear of violence, but fear of consequence. When people understand that betraying you carries higher costs than remaining loyal, their calculations shift dramatically. Machiavelli understood this balance perfectly. He wrote about being both loved and feared, but if forced to choose fear. Love is fickle and conditional. Fear is predictable and permanent. People may stop caring about your well-being, but they'll never stop caring about their own. The 5 laws create this fear subtly. They demonstrate that you're watching, testing, remembering, that you can withdraw benefits as easily as you provide them, that you see patterns others think are invisible, that crossing you carries costs they haven't calculated. This isn't about becoming cruel or paranoid. It's about becoming strategically aware. The same tests that reveal disloyalty also identify genuine allies who deserve your deepest trust. The goal isn't to eliminate everyone. It's to sort everyone correctly. Modern psychology reveals that loyalty operates through multiple mechanisms simultaneously. Social proof creates loyalty through group identity. People remain loyal because others in their tribe expect it. Reciprocity creates loyalty through exchange balance. People remain loyal because they owe you or you owe them. Investment creates loyalty through sunk costs. People remain loyal because they've invested too much to abandon the relationship. Authority creates loyalty through hierarchy. People remain loyal because they respect your position or expertise. Scarcity creates loyalty through exclusive access. People remain loyal because they can't easily replace what you provide. Consistency creates loyalty through identity alignment. People remain loyal because betraying you would contradict their self-image. Understanding these mechanisms allows you to engineer loyalty systematically rather than hoping it develops organically. You can create social proof by building visible communities around your mission. You can establish reciprocity through strategic giving and receiving. You can encourage investment by letting people contribute to your success. You can maintain authority through competent leadership and consistent results. You can create scarcity by limiting access to your time, attention, and resources. You can align consistency by helping people see loyalty to you as consistent with their values and identity. The 5 laws test these mechanisms under stress. When benefits are withdrawn, reciprocity-based loyalty fails. When chaos threatens stability, authority-based loyalty wobbles. When you're absent, social proof-based loyalty dissolves. When you show vulnerability, scarcity-based loyalty wavers. When temptation appears, consistency-based loyalty fractures. Only loyalty based on genuine care for your well-being survives all 5 tests. This is the loyalty worth cultivating, and the loyalty worth reciprocating. Everything else is conditional alliance that serves its purpose but requires careful management and limited trust. Machiavelli's wisdom illuminates the entire psychology. There are 3 classes of intellects. One which comprehends by itself, another which appreciates what others comprehended, and a third which neither comprehends by itself nor by the showing of others. The first is the most excellent, the second is good, and the third is useless. Apply this to loyalty. Some people understand devotion intuitively, others learn it through experience, and others never grasp it regardless of circumstances. Implementing these laws requires systematic approach, not random suspicion. Create testing protocols you can deploy consistently without appearing paranoid or manipulative. Build them into your natural rhythm of relationships and leadership. Weekly practice. Choose one person in your sphere and apply one law subtly. Withdraw attention. Introduce small uncertainty. Create brief absence. Show minor vulnerability, or present tiny temptation. Document their response without judgment. Over time, patterns emerge with crystal clarity. Remember that this is ongoing process, not one-time assessment. People change when their circumstances change. Yesterday's loyal ally becomes tomorrow's bitter rival when their life situation shifts. Continuous testing isn't paranoia, it's maintenance. Build systems for tracking loyalty patterns across time. Create private notes documenting how different people respond to various tests. Look for trends that reveal character development or deterioration. Notice how external pressures, job changes, relationship shifts, financial stress, health challenges affect people's loyalty calculations. The goal isn't to become isolated through excessive testing, but to become strategically connected through accurate assessment. You want a small circle of thoroughly tested allies, a medium circle of competent conditional partners, and a large circle of casual connections who provide specific value without requiring deep trust. Most people never systematically test loyalty because they fear discovering uncomfortable truths about people they care about. But ignorance doesn't protect you from betrayal. It just makes betrayal more surprising and devastating when it occurs. Knowledge allows you to invest appropriately in each relationship category. Machiavelli's guidance remains essential. A prince ought to have two fears, one from within, on account of his subjects, the other from without, on account of external powers. Your internal circle requires the most careful curation, because internal betrayal inflicts the deepest wounds and causes the most comprehensive damage. When you master these 5 laws, you gain what Machiavelli called virtù, the combination of skill, strength, and strategic thinking that allows leaders to navigate complex human dynamics successfully. You stop being naive about human nature without becoming cynical about human potential. You learn to distinguish between different types of loyalty and invest accordingly. You recognize that some relationships are naturally transactional and manage them professionally without expecting emotional depth. You identify genuine allies and build with them the kind of deep, mutual support that creates lasting success. You develop immunity to manipulation because you understand the psychology behind it. When someone tries to exploit your generosity, you recognize the pattern. When someone attempts to create artificial urgency or scarcity, you see through the tactic. When someone seeks to isolate you from other relationships, you understand their strategy. Most importantly, you stop taking betrayal personally because you understand it's usually about the betrayer's character, not your worth. When someone chooses short-term advantage over long-term relationship, they're revealing their priorities, not your flaws. This knowledge allows you to protect yourself without becoming bitter. The 5 laws also make you a better ally to others because you understand what genuine loyalty requires. You learn to pass others' tests with integrity. You recognize when your own loyalties are being challenged and choose consciously rather than reacting impulsively. You become someone worth being loyal to because you demonstrate that loyalty is recognized, rewarded, and reciprocated. People can sense when someone understands the game and plays it with honor versus someone who's naive or manipulative about relationship dynamics. The master understood this transformation. Since it is difficult to unite them in one person, it is much safer to be feared than loved, when either of the two towns either must be dispensed with. This doesn't advocate cruelty. It advocates strategic awareness that protects both you and those who deserve your investment. The ultimate goal of loyalty testing isn't to eliminate risk from relationships. It's to identify where deep investment is warranted. Once you've identified genuine allies through rigorous testing, you can build with them the kind of bonds that become anti-fragile under pressure. These relationships strengthen during crisis rather than breaking. They provide mutual support that amplifies both parties' capabilities. They create trust so deep that it becomes a competitive advantage in a world full of shallow, conditional connections. Invest heavily in those who consistently pass your tests. Share your real challenges, not just your victories. Provide opportunities for them to grow and succeed. Protect their interests as carefully as your own. Create mutual dependence based on genuine care rather than forced obligation. Build systems that make betraying you irrational, even for self-interested people. Structure deals where everyone wins more through cooperation than competition. Create situations where your success directly enables others' success. Make loyalty profitable not just emotionally but practically. The highest level of loyalty transcends testing because it's based on aligned values and mutual growth rather than exchange or obligation. When you find people who share your mission, complement your skills, and enhance your life while you do the same for them, protect these relationships with everything you have, but never stop testing entirely. Even the most loyal allies can change when their circumstances shift dramatically. Maintain gentle, ongoing assessment while investing deeply in proven relationships. The goal is sustainable trust, not naive vulnerability. Machiavelli's insight guides this balance. The chief foundations of all states, new as well as old or composite, are good laws and good arms. Replace states with relationships, and the wisdom holds. Strong bonds require both agreed-upon principles, good laws, and protective measures, good arms. Loyalty is not about finding perfect people. It's about finding predictable people. Perfect people don't exist, but people whose responses you can anticipate are invaluable. When you understand someone's loyalty patterns, you can work with their limitations while leveraging their strengths. Some people are loyal until financial pressure becomes extreme. Others are loyal until social pressure becomes overwhelming. Still others are loyal until better opportunities appear. Knowing these breaking points allows you to manage relationships appropriately and avoid putting people in situations where their loyalty will fail. The 5 laws help you map these patterns systematically. They reveal not just who is loyal, but what kind of loyalty they offer and under what conditions it might break. This information allows you to build resilient networks where individual limitations are covered by collective strength. Remember that you, too, have loyalty limitations. Understanding your own breaking points allows you to make commitments you can keep and avoid promises you might break. Authentic leadership requires knowing your own character as thoroughly as you understand others. The path forward is clear. Begin implementing these tests immediately but gradually. Start with low-stakes relationships and non-critical scenarios. Develop your skills in reading responses and patterns. Build confidence in your ability to assess loyalty accurately. Document everything. Track patterns over time. Notice how external pressures affect different people's loyalty calculations. Identify your own biases that might interfere with accurate assessment. Constantly refine your testing methods and interpretation skills. Most importantly, use this knowledge to become someone worthy of genuine loyalty. The tests work both ways. As you're evaluating others, they're evaluating you. Pass their tests with integrity. Honor the loyalty you receive. Invest in relationships that prove themselves valuable. The world is full of performed loyalty and conditional alliance. Those who master the art of identifying and cultivating genuine loyalty gain access to something increasingly rare and infinitely valuable. Relationships based on mutual care, shared growth, and unshakable commitment. As Machiavelli concluded, upon this, one has to remark that men ought either to be well treated or crushed, because they can avenge themselves of lighter injuries. Of more serious ones they cannot. Therefore, the injury that is to be done to a man ought to be of such a kind that one does not stand in fear of revenge. Apply this wisdom to loyalty. Invest deeply in those who prove themselves, maintain professional distance from those who don't, and never create enemies through half measures. Transformation waits for no perfect moment or external permission. It begins the instant you decide to break free from your past. The change starts now, in this very moment. The choice is yours. You can cling to familiar patterns that have kept you confined, or you can embrace the creative discomfort of rising above the average. Remember, no one will make this decision for you. Do not wait for another sign or permission. The power to transform is already in your hands. The journey to building unbreakable loyalty while exposing false allies starts here. Choose wisely. Your empire depends on it.